Macaroni and cheese. Some might say a staple food. Yes, folks, in my hand I hold a simple bowl of mac and cheese, a food that transcends class boundaries, age, race, gender, ethnicity, everything. This food is universal. It is a constant. It is axiomatic to the human experience. One might say that a bowl of mac and cheese is equivalent to a work of great art or literature by the likes of Picasso or Agatha Christie, Charles Dickens. Pick your author, pick your artist. This is how humanity will leave their mark on the history of time. Millennia from now, eons even from now, when an evolved life form looks back on the history of those primitive humans, what will they see? What will everything lead back to? Macaroni and cheese. Now, is any of what I just said true? No, not at all. Do I feel strongly about mac and cheese? Yes. Is it one of my favorite comfort foods? Yes. And is it a favorite comfort food of people all over the world? Yes. Today, we are going to talk about the history of macaroni and cheese. Supposedly, macaroni and cheese dates back as far as 160 BCE, when Roman Senator Marcus Porcius Cato, otherwise known as Cato the Elder or Cato the Wise, wrote a treatise on running a country estate, De Agricultura. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. My Latin's not good. In it, there are a few recipes for cooking, one of which could be translated as pasta and fresh cheese. The next time that we saw macaroni and cheese recorded in some kind of written format, it was in a published cookbook called the Anonimo Toscano, Libro della Cucina, which was in the late 14th or early 15th century, and it was just an Italian cookbook where they said, hey, cheese is good, so is pasta. Let's put them together. By the mid-18th century, macaroni and cheese, or something macaroni and cheese-like, showed up in France, in England, in English colonies, in other people's cookbooks that were being published at the time, and it was all just a matter of time until it made its way to America. Now, as you all know, America wasn't really a thing for the majority of the 18th century, but all it took was for a man to cross the Delaware, and a newborn America would be introduced to macaroni and cheese very quickly. For a long time, many people credited US President Thomas Jefferson for popularizing mac and cheese in the United States, but of course, it was actually his enslaved chef, James Hemings, who was trained in Paris, learned to cook it, and then brought it back to the United States, because why wouldn't that be the actual story? And yes, I'm sure that you guessed it, but it was really enslaved black women who were in the kitchens, on the front lines, the evangelists of the perfect marriage of macaroni noodles and cheese, perfecting these recipes and passing them down hand to mouth, person to person, for years on end. And after a lot of history that I am definitely skipping and overlooking, we get to Kraft mac and cheese. No, not the box that we see today, but this Kraft mac and cheese. 2 world wars and an economic depression so bad that they had to call it great does a lot to the appetite of a country. Namely, it shortens it, because they can't afford to actually eat more food. They need something fast and something that is non-perishable, or at least as non-perishable as it gets when it comes to convenient cooking. James Lewis Kraft was a Canadian cheesemaker who made a lot of money selling processed cheese to the American government during World War I. In 1937, when the Great Depression was waning, he came out with his Kraft Dinner, which was marketed from his home base in my hometown, Chicago. There's a nostalgia factor that is associated with Kraft mac and cheese because I'm almost 100% sure that the majority of us ate it when we were kids and loved it, because how could you not? It's macaroni and cheese, and it's processed, and it's easy and fast and yummy. How can you not like it? But at the same time, macaroni and cheese is not just restricted to Kraft mac and cheese. In fact, Kraft mac and cheese is its own thing. American, that's what it is. But around the world, macaroni and cheese is prepared in many, many, many different ways. Again, I said it at the beginning and I'll say it now. It is ubiquitous. It is a ubiquitous meal. It shows up in all places because it is one of the ultimate comfort foods. One of the peaks of comfort food tradition. You have the Swiss and German Macaroni, which is just macaroni, potatoes, caramelized onions, Gruyere cheese, and a side of warm applesauce. Here we have the German Käsespätzle, which is just a chewy dough made from flour, eggs, and salt. And then you have pasticcio, which is essentially just Greek lasagna. You also have Lakschenkugel, which is just a noodle dish made for Jewish holidays, which uses cottage cheese and egg noodles. I'm getting away from macaroni and cheese, but the point still stands. The combination of pasta, or mostly macaroni, and cheese is all over the world. It's not just different dishes, it's preparation too. You can make it in so many different ways. You can make stovetop mac and cheese, you can make it in a skillet, you can bake it, you can put it in a sheet pan, you can make it a souffle, you can put a bunch of different ingredients in it. Some people even make 10 cheese mac and cheese. That is so many cheeses! There is even a mac and cheese bowl competition that has been going on for 13 years, has a $35 general admission, and VIP tickets for $55. This happens in New York. It's a real thing. People go to it and care about the results. Home cooks go and compete to see who can make the best, heartiest bowl of mac and cheese. I know I kind of said it as a joke in the beginning, but macaroni and cheese is one of the greatest foods. It is simple and yet can be made so complex. It can be somebody's survival food, like most college students, while also being a food that you'd serve to somebody that you want to impress. It just depends on the preparation. There are so many different cheeses that you can put in mac and cheese as well. And because of all the different preparations and all the different recipes and all the different cultural spins that people put on it, mac and cheese in one part of the world is so different from mac and cheese in other parts of the world. And that's really neat. Tracing the history of macaroni and cheese has been a really cool experience. And I just wanted to do it on a whim. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. I just kind of wanted to talk about good food. I know I've been holding this bowl and this fork for dramatic effect for this ending, but the bowl's empty. I ate all the mac and cheese maybe like 20 minutes ago when I started recording this video. So yeah, go buy your own mac and cheese. Or better yet, go make it. I will see you guys in the next video, so have a good rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Bye!